This is my dad's car, actually. Well, he's been driving this for the past couple months. Anyways, he took it in for service today to get an oil change. I know what you guys are saying. How come you didn't do the oil change yourself? Well, my dad likes to take advantage of his coupons, and he always gets those coupons where like he'll, you know, go get an oil change for like 20 bucks. So and then it'll be like 20 bucks, and he'll go get like a checkup just for the heck of it. And today they went and did a checkup, and they said, hey man, your lower ball joints or your lower ball joint on your passenger side is pretty worn out. You might want to take a look at that. So instead of him spending the $300-400 to have them do it, I went and bought the part for 30 bucks, rented the tools, and now we're going to tackle this job ourselves. All right, so let's get started. To get the tires off or to get the wheel off, you're going to need a 19 mil socket. Get yourself an ugga-dugga tool, or if this is on the ground, you might want to break the lugs first on the ground and then raise it up. But because we're here at Backyard Pit Stop, I've got a hoist. Set those aside for now. Now, if you get one of those, if you're in a situation like me where you have a lug nut that's stuck in your socket, what I like to do is thread it on a little bit and then just kind of wiggle it off. And I'll put that back onto my ugga-dugga tool here. And then get that off like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna need to get this whole hub assembly off the car. So first off, I'm gonna start by taking this nut off, the CV axle nut. All right, the CV axle nut is a 32 millimeters nut. What we're gonna do is get that on there, and then grab my ugga-dugga tool. Spin that off, set that aside. 7. All right, guys, to get the caliper off, what you're gonna need is a 21 socket, and you're gonna go ahead and get the bigger bolts out the back. So there's 2 of them. There's one, and there's a second one down here. So let's go ahead and break those loose. Get those loose. All right. All right, there's the one bolt. Take that out. Let's get something to support this caliper when we go to pop it out. Go take the second one off. Go ahead, slide that caliper off, and then, like I said, grab yourself like a bungee cable or something to support the caliper. That way it's not hanging. You don't want to damage that brake line. Just like that, that should do for now. All right, now that the caliper's off, you're gonna go ahead and take off the rotor, set that aside. We'll set that right there. Okay. So we'll go ahead and grab our ugga-dugga tool and a 21 to get these bolts out. Might need some more power. So we'll get a 21 on the back and a 21 on the front as well. So here, let's, do I have a 21 or I've got this? That should work. That aside. Get the second one. there. Okay, now let's not pop those out just yet. What we want to do is we're gonna go ahead and get the bolt that's on the ball joint. All right, to get the bolt out from the ball joint, or the nut, it is an 18 mil. We're gonna go ahead and pop that off. Oh. All right. So sometimes you might get lucky and you might be able to just pop this out just kind of by prying it out. You know, if it's worn out enough. Let's see if I can. Yep. Popped right out. And it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be nice and snug in there. Alright, so now that you got these two loosened up and you got the bolt taken out from the ball joint, what we're going to do is go ahead and remove the ABS sensor. ABS sensor is a 10 mil. You guys can see I already loosened it up. But anyways, you take the 10 mil off and then you should be able to pull this ABS sensor off. If you're in a rust belt, if you're in one of the rust belt states like me, maybe just take a little screwdriver and just kind of shimmy at it and you should be able to pop it right out. Afterwards, you've got a little plastic rivet that's going to be stuck in here. Mine broke, but that's okay. With it being cold out here, sometimes plastic gets a little flimsy and easy to break. Anyways, just try to pry that off, get it out, set that aside. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get the tie rod end off. To get the tie rod end off, it looks like it is, let's see. All right, so tie rod end is an 18. So we got our 18 mil, move that. Okay, came out nice and easy. Pop that out, set that aside as well. Okay, now all that's left that's holding it, let's put that aside. All that's left that's holding it are these two bolts. So looks like, I don't know, the top one, let's see. Top one, that's easy to come out. Set that aside, and then I always like to whenever I have like a bolt and a nut type of setup, I like to put on a little bit of threads and just set it aside just so you're not losing anything. Okay, so this looks like it's gonna give me a hard time, so I've got my little hammer here. Just kind of even coming out. Yeah. There we go. I don't know why that was difficult. That's what happens when you get some rust and all that. All right, so like I said, put some threads on there. All right, now all that's holding it looks like it is the CV axle. So hopefully that should just pop right off. I have to give this a couple gentle taps. There you go. What was that? Doesn't look good. Up. Looks like it's just a little gasket. Alright, so I'll set that there so I don't kind of forget about it. Alright. Alright. Let's go take this over to our workbench. Alright guys, so now that we have the hub assembly off the car and on a workbench here, you can kind of see the ball joint. I don't think it's supposed to be that loose. Like there's a lot of play there. It's really loose. So here's a new one. This is a DriveWorks part number DWK500120. I believe this one has a lifetime warranty on it. Anyways, picked it up from the local hardware store, or local parts store, I mean. It's around like 32 bucks. Alright. So let's see what comes in here. So there's the retainer clip, set that aside. Compare them next to each other. Make sure that they look like they're the right part. And I think we should be good. So while I was at the auto store, I went to Advanced Auto, by the way. I went ahead and picked up this kit right here. So this is a U-joint service set. Usually places like Advanced Auto, O'Reilly's, or any of your local parts stores will rent these kits out. Most of the time they're free to rent, so they'll charge you however much the set costs. For example, this set right here costs $230. They'll charge you that amount, and then when you go to bring this back, when you go to bring back your rental, they'll refund you your $230, and you're good to rent these for up to 60 days with no fees. Just make sure that nothing breaks, and if anything does break, just let them know. Yeah, so just make sure nothing breaks, and make sure that everything goes back with the kit when you go to return it. So this U-joint is going to be a little bit complicated, just because there, if you can see right here, there isn't that much space to put one of those like socket things. So looks like, yeah, that'll fit by itself. And then get one of these. I get something that goes around it, just like that. Put that in there. Okay. Okay, so with this retainer clip, I don't know if you guys can see, I don't have any special tools to remove this one, but it is a C retainer clip. It goes in like that. I don't know if you guys can see here, but it stops right there, and it stops on this side as well. So what I did is I'm taking a flathead screwdriver, and I'm just kind of getting at one end of the C clip. So it's like this right now, and I'm pushing on this end, and just kind of push up on that clamp, on the C clamp, or the C retainer, I mean. And if you push on it a little bit, you can probably grab a smaller flathead screwdriver. There you go. Keep that in there. And just kind of shimmy it out. Just like that. There's your retainer clip. Now let's bring this back around. Bring our ball joint removal tool. Got that there. Set this in there. Okay, so on my specific tools, or on my specific set, this end right here is a 7/8. So I went ahead and got a 7/8 socket. We'll set that aside. There you go. Don't forget to make sure that this is in there as well. Spin that in a little bit. And you just want to spin it till it's touching the actual Alright, so put that on there, grab my impact. Okay. loosen that up, pop that out like that, and just like that, it should slide right out. So with this, all right, so because we don't have that much of a distance right here for this tool to be able to push it all the way down, it's gonna push it out a good amount. It looks like it pushed it out maybe halfway through. So what I'm gonna attempt to do right now is I got myself a small long socket here. This one's a 19. Set that right there, and then just kind of, let's see if that, I don't know if that's gonna work. You gotta get creative here. Boom, just like that. Didn't even have to give it that many, like that hard of a tap. But yeah, that works. And then with a little sledge. So to get the new one on, just look at that. It's so flimsy. That's probably why it was making all that noise. All right, so to get the new one on, look for any markings. If it says anything about which side or which way it should be. Sometimes it'll tell you, you know, this side goes on the inside or anything like that. I'm surprised there's no grease fitting up here. I'm guessing it comes pre-greased, unless there's a way to grease it from inside here, but it doesn't look like it. Anyways, I'll find out afterwards. All right, now to get the ball joint back on, or to get the new one on, because Chrysler gave us such a small space here to work with, we won't be able to get this as well as a cap on to get the ball joint on. So usually how this works is this is your standard ball joint, right? And then usually you'll get like a cap that fits over it. So cap will go over here. That'll make up for the offset space so that when you go to push the ball joint in. So the cap will go here, and then for the bottom you got to find something that will fit over the bottom of the ball joint, but you want to make sure that you're not tearing the boot. You want to just make sure that you're sitting on the metal part of it. So put that there, and then because when you go to push this in, or yeah, so put that there, and then you want to get, so it looks like you got this part right here that's going to sit on top of it or underneath it, and then it'll go like that, right? This, and then the C-clamp will go like that. But because you see up top where there isn't enough space for this, the top of the C-clamp to fit in, so what we're gonna have to do is without the cap, we're gonna go ahead and set this up. So we'll get some of this like PB blaster and just kind of spray around. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and set that there. Yeah. Don't forget about this piece right here. Goes in there. All right, take our impact here. And then just kind of watch it. You're gonna push it in. All right, I'm guessing that's where it's gonna stop. Just look at it. Yep, that's pretty much flush. Now we got to get creative and see how we're gonna get the rest of the halfway in. It's not gonna work for us because we don't have the. That's not gonna fit in there. So what I'm thinking to do is, all right, really not the best way of doing things, but it worked. So if you guys can see, what I did was with that same with the same size one that I used to press it in using the C clamp, I went ahead and grabbed that, put that there, and because I didn't want to damage any of the threads, I went ahead and grabbed another one of these round receiving tube things that kind of fit over it and was nice and snug. And then I just kind of made sure that I was on the metal part of the ball joint, because you don't want to tear up the rubber boot. So make sure you're on the metal part, and then just take a hammer and just bang it, or go ahead and hammer it till you get it in. Now that it's nice and flush, let's see how the play is. Yeah, there's like no play. Okay, so that ball joint was bad. This was really bad. Okay, so now that it's in there like that, I'm gonna grab our new retainer clip. So to get the new retainer clip on, what I'm doing is I'm gonna go ahead and try to seat one side, because I don't have any special retainer clip tools. So I'm gonna try to seat one side into the groove, and then with my flathead screwdriver, I'm gonna try to come in on the other side, and then just kind of shimmy it in, and just kind of use that screwdriver to pry that end in. See, I'm not sure if this will work, but give it a try. All right, and we're in. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So what I did is I went ahead and I seated this side of the retainer clip, and then I had it go halfway, maybe out to here, and this part right here was sticking out. So what I did is I took the screwdriver and just kind of like leveraged it in until it popped right in, and now we're in. It's almost kind of like putting a tire on a wheel. All right, now that that's on, let's go ahead and take this assembly over to the car and get it all installed. All right, I just kind of get it in. So what we'll do is we'll grab our 2 bolts here that go up top, or 21. Make sure you don't damage that ABS sensor. Fish that in through there. Grab the other one. Fish that in through there, through the bottom. There we are. Then just kind of thread the nuts a little bit. Okay. And then get it over. You guys are probably wondering why this is cut. Let's just say that was one heck of a story. All right. Sometimes when you're working on cars and you need to make some tools work for you, you do stuff like that. Okay. And just to make sure, you want to make sure that, just go over it again with your hand tool, just to make sure that it's tight. All right, and we are good. Move that out of the way. So I guess we can get our tie rod end on. So to get your tie rod end, just fish it in through there. Then you grab your separate 18 mil Get it fished on. I like to hold the tie rod end into the, that's what I was worried about. Okay. All right, guys. So, when you go to install a tie rod end, sometimes, if you guys can see, when you go to try to spin this, it's just spinning freely on the whole tie rod end. So they provide you with this little, with this end right here that's shaped to meet with like a socket or a wrench. So that is an 1132. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab an 18 mil to hold the nut in place, and then we're gonna grab the 1132. Then with the 1132, we're actually gonna spin the opposite way. All right. Okay, let's get the ball joint. We'll get the ball joint and the lower control arm. So just go ahead and fish it in. Okay. What you need to do is actually get that. All right, guys. So my GoPro actually, SD card filled up. So where I was I'm getting the ball joint now threaded into the lower control arm. So what I went ahead and did was I kind of forced this the lower ball joint into the lower control arm here and get it to where you have enough threads. And now we're gonna go ahead and grab that nut. So we'll go ahead and thread that by hand, and hopefully that's an 18 as well. Yep, it's an 18. That's pretty good right there. Let's bring the car back down. All right, now that that's installed, we'll go ahead and install our ABS sensor. So that you just put that back in its slot. Grab your 10mm bolt. As always, hand thread first. And then to make things easy on yourself, when you go to put the caliper back on, what I like to do is take a lug nut, just hand thread it on there just to hold your rotor in place. So you see now the rotor is in place. Now I can easily fish my my caliper on. You can start with one side first, and then so like I started from the top and then just shimmied it in like that. Now we got to grab our, I think they're 21s, I believe, 21mm bolts. And as always, go back with your hand tools just to make sure that it's nice and tight. Make sure that's my 21. Now we got to remove that lug nut that we put earlier to hold the rotor. So last thing to do now is to grab your CV axle nut, thread it by hand, and again it is a 32 mil. So we'll grab our Ugga Dugga tool here, just zip it on. All right, should be good to go. Now all that's left to do is get our wheel on, grab a 19 mil socket, and then we'll go ahead and hand thread. And with wheels, as always, you want to do star pattern. So. All right, there you have it. And that's how you install a lower ball joint on a 2016 Dodge Journey. If you have any comments or remarks or questions or anything about this 2016 Dodge Journey or anything about today's video, please go ahead and feel free to comment below. I'll go ahead and put a link for the specific part that we used for the ball joint, and then I'll go ahead and put a part for the or a similar part for the kit that we used, the tool kit. However, if you just go to your local Advanced AutoZone or whatever, they should have a kit that you can rent out from them, and it's usually free to rent. They just basically take a deposit and then you get your deposit back. But yeah, like I said, any questions, go ahead, feel free, let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate the support. Go ahead, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date with the shenanigans here at Backyard Pit Stop. And if you have any requests for videos for anything in the shop, please feel free to comment in any of my videos, and I will do my best to make it happen. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you next time.